Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Wow, that's a great shot right there of Sheik's butt. Last time, we managed to find the last spiritual stone from the Zoras. Unfortunately, we also discovered that we fell right into Ganondorf's trap, unlocking the door to the Temple of Time, allowing Ganondorf to claim the Triforce. And we have awakened 7 years in the future, where Ganondorf rules supreme. So things here in the land of Hyrule are a lot worse than they were before. All we can do now is fight and save this world from Ganondorf. So we got a lot to do in this session. There are quite a few different things we can do at this point in our adventure. And given our current resources, I think our first stop is going to be over here to Lon Lon Ranch. It's an area that we previously visited quite a bit when we were a child. And there have been a few changes to this place in the 7 years since we've been gone. So, let us go head to the ranch and see what has happened. So, no, Navi had something to say there, but I'm really not all that interested right now. Before we head out to the ranch, I first want to go check out the stables. Because in here, look who it is. Oh, a visitor. It's been a long time since we've had a visitor here. Where did you come from? Since Ganondorf came, people in the castle town have gone, places have been ruined, and monsters are wandering everywhere. Mr. Ingo is just using the ranch to gain Ganondorf's favor. Everyone seems to be turning evil. But Dad, he was kicked out of the ranch by Mr. Ingo. If I disobey Mr. Ingo, he'll treat the horses so badly. So, there's nothing I can do. It seems like the ranch is now under new management. Talon no longer works here, and Ingo has taken over. He even plastered his face on the fences. God, what a dick. Well, Ingo seems to be doing good these days. There are some people in Kokiri spreading rumors that I cheated Talon out of the ranch, but don't be ridiculous. That guy Talon was weak. I, the hardworking Ingo, poured so much energy into this place. I don't want any strangers like you saying anything bad about me. Listen, the great Ganondorf recognized my obvious talents and gave the ranch to me. I will raise a fine horse and win recognition from the great Ganondorf. Say, young man, do you want to ride one of my fine horses? Pay me 10 rupees and you can ride. Sure thing. Do you want to hear how to ride? Sure, we could use some lessons. Approach the horse quietly and stand by its side. Press A to mount up. Use the control stick to make it run. Once it starts running, press A to tap it with the whip. It will speed up. When you want to jump over a fence, accelerate and hit it head on. If you try to jump over a fence at an angle, the horse won't like it and it won't jump. After the horse comes to a complete stop, press A to dismount. Now have fun. Thank you so much. So the ranch has been taken over, but it doesn't mean we can't have fun here. Hello? She seems kind of shy. Oh, wouldn't you know it? When we were a child, we learned a song from Malin that seemed to attract one of the horses to us. So we play a Epona song. This mare will come right up to us and allow us to ride her. This is the very same Epona that we befriended all those years ago. She's finally grown up. So yeah, we get a few instructions from Ingo about horse riding. which is going to be a pretty important skill for us going forward. Now, a thing that I like doing here is that if you jump over these fences here, you get some rupees, which is a nice way to stock up on rupees after the ones that you had previously spent from Ingo to get in here. And yet, you can just kind of get accustomed to the controls of riding around on your horse. It's pretty nice. You can easily tell just how riding on a horse is so much faster than walking. Hey, time up, young man! You only paid 10 rupees! You played around long enough! But sadly, we can't take our friend Epona out of the fences. How about we talk to Ingo again, see if we can make a deal with him. I do not need a lesson on horse riding, sir. Alright, so once more, we need to get on Epona. So let's play our song again to lure her close. Again, something I really like about the contrast between the child era and the adult era in Ocarina of Time, just seeing all the things that changed between the areas. Because when we were a child, Lon Lon Ranch was a very happy area. With Talon running it, it was very peaceful, and we got to befriend Malin and the other horses here. It was good. But seeing this place run by Ingo, this place has really gone downhill. Let's try to jump once more to get our rupees back. Well, okay, never mind. Alright, so what I want to do after we have ridden here at least once is talk to Ingo. You're getting better. How about a little race with me? One lap around the corral with that horse. Let's make a little wager, say 50 rupees. Let's take his offer. Time for the race with Ingo. This one is a pretty simple mini-game, all things considered. You just want to get ahead of Ingo. So what I would recommend doing, stay as close to the corral as you can. Do not waste all of the carrots you see on your speed meter there. If you use up all the carrots, it'll take longer for them to refill. So definitely be sure to only use enough in order to stay ahead of Ingo, and you should be good here. Not too bad. Shoot! If the great Ganondorf found out about this humiliation! Hey, you! How about another race? If you win, you can keep the horse! Ooh, that sounds like a nice little treat for us. Having a mare we can ride around Hyrule with. Alright, time for the second race. This one's going to be a bit trickier because Ingo will speed up a lot more. So definitely make sure you have enough carrots to be able to get ahead of him. Want to be very careful here. Just stay ahead of Ingo and you're good. Alright, there we go. Second race is done. What's up with that horse? Is that Epona? How did you tame that wild horse right under my nose? I was going to present that horse to the great Ganondorf, but I bet another race and lost! Shoot! As I promised, I'll give the horse to you. However, I'll never let you leave this ranch! Seems that Ingo's a sore loser and won't let us leave. But you know what? We are stubborn. We're not gonna let some old fraud keep us imprisoned. Just ride to the wall here and jump. We managed to escape the ranch, and we now have Epona. So all throughout the land of Hyrule now, we are free to take Epona to most locations, we're able to take her to some areas like, obviously, Hyrule Field, like Hylia and Gerudo Valley, but there aren't a whole lot of places we are actually able to take her to. But for the most part, she serves her function very well, being able to quickly carry us to a variety of locations. And is pretty darn helpful, especially for some things we are eventually going to be doing later down the line. But for the time being, let's see how things are changing at the ranch, now that we finally managed to cheat Ingo at his own game. Well, he seems like he's a little nicer now. Hi there, how are you? I am Ingo. I feel so honored to be allowed to work here. So it seems like losing to us has completely destroyed his reputation. So he's back to just being a normal farmhand. And we have Malin here. Thank you very much for the other day. I haven't even asked you your name yet. Really? Hayden! That's what I thought. You're the fairy boy from the forest. That was years ago. Do you remember me? You do? I was sure it was you because Epona remembered you. Oh, I have to tell you about Mr. Ingo. He was afraid the evil king might find out that Epona had been taken away. It really upset him. But one day, all of a sudden, he went back to being a normal, nice person. Now my dad's coming back. I can't believe it, but peace is returning to this ranch. It's all because of you. I owe you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Hayden. So we managed to fix things here on Lon Lon Ranch. Pretty nice little end to this little subplot going on. Yes, Navi? Should we believe what Sheik said and go to Kakariko Village? We'll say that a bit later. How's Epona doing? If you play Epona's song with your ocarina, she will surely come to you. Please, come back to the ranch whenever you want to train Epona. We might take you up on that offer. Let's play Epona's song here. And yep, we're able to bring Epona here as well. Epona looks great. It looks like you were able to tame her too. How about trying your skill with Epona on an obstacle course? I'll time you for 2 laps. It's pretty challenging. If you miss jumping a fence in the proper order, you'll fail. How about it? Do you want to try? So we heard from one of the gossip stones that Malin herself is a pretty skilled rider and even set the record here on the obstacle course. Let's give it an honest attempt. The current record is 50 seconds. First, try to beat this record. If you can beat the record, I'll give you a present. Give it your best shot, okay? Alright, let's get started. Now, this isn't really something I recommend doing too much, but at the same time, this could be helpful to you later on. So, we're gonna give our honest effort to beat the obstacle course. Pretty simple, all things considered. Just have Epona jump over the fences here. Be sure to keep up a good speed boost to be able to jump over the fences. And you should have the time here well. Okay, we're definitely going to need to speed up here if we're going to beat the 50-second mark. Come on, Epona. We really need to get faster here. I don't see this going too well. Come on. 46, 47, 48, 49. We just barely got it. Woo! That was good. You did it! 49 seconds is the new course record. I have to give you a present to commemorate your new record. The present's a little too heavy to give to you here, so I'll have it delivered to your house. Bet you can't wait to see it. So we'll go see what exactly the reward we get from Malin in a little bit. But for now, how about we move on? We managed to fix things here on the ranch and restore order to Malin's family. Pretty nice, all things considered. We're making our first steps to making Hyrule a good place again. Now, the next thing I want to do is, right before we go take care of some of the other major things I want to do, I actually want to head back to Lake Hylia, as this is going to supply us with something that will be very helpful going forward. I highly recommend doing this pretty much as soon as you enter the adult part of the game. Let me tell you, now that we're actually at this point in the game, I feel so good about no longer having to keep it a secret that there are two different time periods that you are able to explore here in the land of Hyrule. Lake Hylia. We can see immediately that this place has also changed significantly because of Ganondorf's reign over Hyrule. The lake is almost completely drained. It's very unfortunate, really showing how far Ganondorf's influence has come, that it's started to affect these areas as well, and just completely affect the landscape like this. Another way to motivate you to fix things for good. Go talk to the Scarecrow here. Hey, aren't you the fairy buddy I met a long time ago? Wow, you grew, dude. Well, here's your song. What? No, I never forget. You're the one who forgot, aren't you? If you have an ocarina, play that song, baby. Let's play the song that we played to Bonoru all those years ago. Hey, it's the ocarina. Play that song with him, baby. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the tune. You rock. I'm blown away. Oh no, I didn't forget the song. I never forget anything. But I just feel like rewarding you, baby. I have a good idea. My buddy Pierre's wandering around, so play that tune when you want to call him. Well, I'll tell him to help you if he's nearby and hears that song, baby. So that there is the Scarecrow song. A very unique song compared to the ones that we have seen, as we're the ones who actually composed the song. So in order to get the Scarecrow song, you need to play an 8-note song to Bonoru back in the child time. And then, once you enter the adult time, simply return to Bonoru and play him that very song to have it registered as the Scarecrow song. And then afterwards, we'll be able to use that to acquire certain things as we advance forward in the game. There isn't really anything I want to do involving the Scarecrow song for the time being, but do note that it will be important much later on. So meanwhile, actually I think this would actually be a good time to demonstrate, given Navi's current position here. So, just gonna play the song we have taught Bonoru. And by playing that in certain areas, it causes Pierre to appear. Sadly, I don't have the means of actually being able to use Pierre to the fullest. But we don't need to worry about that, because remember those magic beans we were planting in those dirt mounds ever since the child time? Oh, get out of here, Gwei. Well, those magic beans, we planted them in the child time, and now in the adult time, they have fully sprouted into plants. And by stepping on the plants, they serve as a platform, which can be used to carry us to a variety of different places all throughout these set areas they're in. It's pretty good to ride them all over the place. They are definitely very helpful. But one of the main reasons I wanted to go to this one above some of the other areas we have put the magic beans in is because if we climb up all the way to the top of the lakeside laboratory, we can get a piece of heart. So one of the main reasons you want to get the magic beans is because most of them will lead to a piece of heart. Outside of that, there are some other uses to the magic beans, but for the time being, that is the primary use for them. Being able to either reach the pieces of heart or some other things that'll be useful to us later on. Just wanted to check this area at night just to make sure I'm not missing anything here. And yeah, it seems like there is not much else here, so I guess we're done. That's pretty much everything I want to do in Lake Hylia for the time being. So why don't we take our horse over to Kakariko, as that is going to be one of our major destinations throughout our adventure here. Another reason I really love having Epona by this point in the game is that we're able to finally jump over these fences that block our progress like so long ago. They used to require us to be able to get over here from other means, but now that we have Epona, we can simply, okay, if I could actually show this off and not completely flub this, we can use Epona to jump over these fences, which is very useful, giving us another quick way between the different areas of Hyrule. Alright, let us head off to Kakariko Village, as there's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to be able to show off there. Alright, so across the bridge here, we can return to Kakariko once more. So Kakariko Village in the adult time is probably the area that changes the most out of every location that we're able to visit across Hyrule, for a variety of reasons. We have these guys here by this tree now. Look at this guy! Ever since he escaped from Hyrule Castletown, he's become even more timid. What do you have to say? I tell you, I saw him! I saw the ghostly figure of Dampé, the Gravekeeper, sinking into his grave! It looked like he was holding some kind of treasure. So if we walk around Kakariko Village, we can see that a good deal of the citizens here now are NPCs that we used to see in Hyrule Castle's markets, showing that a few people did manage to escape the conquest that Ganondorf made on the castle. But not everyone managed to make it. I just want to check some things right here. Alright, we're at 43 spiders, so we're not getting a reward. Let's talk to this guy here. A long time ago, there was a man in this very village who had an eye they said could see the truth. Now, usually you have to train your mind's eye most strenuously to actually see the truth. But this fella, no. They say he had a different way of doing things. His house stood where the well is now. Fascinating. We'll want to keep that in mind for later, as that could be some pretty helpful information. Now that we're here in Kakariko, let's explore a few of the houses here and see how a lot of the citizens are doing now. Hello there. Hey, young man! A grown boy like you entering a person's house without permission? I want to talk to your parents. Oh well, this isn't my house anyway. This is the Great Impa's house. The Great Impa has gone to the graveyard to seal up the humongous creature there. Since Ganondorf appeared, many monsters have been sighted around here. Only the Great Impa has kept peace in our village. You have to remember that, young man. Oh well. Speaking of the great Impa, she hasn't come back yet. I wonder what happened to her. I heard that the ghost of the Gravekeeper often appears in the graveyard behind this village. But no big deal. So we have some context to what Impa has been doing these days, protecting the village from a lot of Ganondorf's forces. I believe that's everything we can do in here for now. And perhaps one day, we will eventually get to see Impa again much later. Hello there, Anju. What's happening with you? I bred a new type of miniature Kuko. I call it the Pocket Kuko. I don't get goosebumps from this baby. Kukos are very good at getting lazy late risers out of bed. Haven't you heard of them before? It makes them very happy to crow, cuckoo, especially when it wakes up a very heavy sleeper. However, my Kuko's not entirely happy right now. You look like you're good at handling Kukos. Is that a euphemism? Here, take this egg. After the Kuko hatches, bring it back to me after a while, and I'll check out its mood. What do you think? Will you try? Sure thing. You borrowed a pocket egg. A pocket Kuko will hatch from it overnight. Be sure to give it back when you're done with it. So much like the egg we got from Malin back in the child time, we are able to hold on to this pocket egg until it eventually hatches. For the time being, we're going to hold off on that as we're going to be doing some things around Kokiri Village, but we are going to be doing this much later, as this is actually the start of a very lengthy quest line. That's going to be very important to us going forward. Let us head into the windmill now. It's been a while since we've been here. Hello there, sir. Grrr! I'll never forget what happened on that day 7 years ago. Grrr! It's all that Ocarina kid's fault. Next time he comes around here, I'm gonna mess him up. He had an encounter with a kid with an ocarina. Why don't we bring our ocarina out? What? You've got an ocarina? What the heck? That reminds me of that time 7 years ago. Back then, a mean kid came here and played a strange song. It messed up this windmill. I'll never forget this song. You played the Song of Storms. So we get a new song by talking to this NPC. You've learned the Song of Storms. I forget if this guy's actually named in this game, but his name is Guru Guru. Oh no, a storm again! You played the ocarina again, didn't you? So we see here the Song of Storms actually affected things here in the windmill, as now this platform in the center is turning much faster. It's quite a neat little detail. But yep, that is how we obtain the Song of Storms. So this is a very interesting song in that it's useful for uncovering secrets. So around certain places in Hyrule, thanks to using the Rumble Pack, you can be able to locate various secrets. And by either using the Song of Storms or bombs in certain locations, you can uncover those secrets. Very handy. There's also some other uses to the Song of Storms we will see going forward, but we'll save that for a bit later. Hey, it's Beard Man. The windmill draws water up from the depths of the well. Now the well's dried up, though. Yeah, we can see there's no water in the well. But there is a ladder there leading further down into it. You might want to remember that for later. Going into this house here. Hello there. All people have hardships in their past that they would rather no one found out about. Look at the bearded man sleeping over there. I bet even someone like him has had his share of troubles in the past. Oh, it's the dog lady. Look at him, the man with the beard. I think he was fired from his job at the ranch. He's always just lazing around morning, noon, and night. He's an awfully carefree guy during such hard times. So we can see that this is where Talon ended up after losing the ranch to Ingo. Malon, doing alright? Sorry to make you worry. He's just gonna be sleeping here for a while. We'll be back to check up on Talon a little later. But for now, let's head to the upper section of Kakariko Village, as there's some new stuff we're able to do up here as well. So we talk to you. Please, with C, please, sell me something. Please, with C. So we can talk to that guy in order to sell items to him. And we can see over here that some shops have now opened up here in Kakariko Village. First, let's check out the item shop. So we can see here it's pretty much the standard item shop that we're accustomed to back in Hyrule Castle Town. Still selling the same inventory as before. Nothing in here I really need, but it's nice to know this place is here now. And then over here we have the new potion shop. Welcome! So the inventory here is pretty much the same as it was before. Something I do want to note, now that we have the Giant's Wallet, we are now actually able to purchase Blue Fire. It might actually be worth it to purchase Blue Fire at this point, as it can actually be used for something later on, but I'm not going to do that just yet. Meanwhile, what I want to do is head back here. So now we have an easy way to access this back area behind the potion shop, which enables us to do a few things. We can head down this hole here, and we're able to uncover this chest. We could have accessed this chest back in the child timeline, but I save that until now just because. We got 20 rupees there. And we can finally access this shop over here. And this is a pretty good area here. I heard that the Lost Woods, where fairies live, is a strange place with many mysterious smells. I wish I could just once make medicine with some of the strange things I might find there. I may not be able to see very well anymore, but my nose still works fine. Alright, she's just talking about mushrooms inside the forest. We'll want to save that for later, as this area will be pretty useful later on. But yeah, do remember that that old lady is here at the potion shop. Ooh, we get a red rupee from that. So let's climb up this ladder here and see what else we can find. As we can see that the loving couple has now moved here. What an annoying person interrupting us like this, don't you agree, my love? They're just gonna be spinning around doing their thing for a while, so we'll leave them to it. Now, it's about time that we head back into the Kakariko graveyard, as we have been hinted to go here quite a few times. We've been told by some of the locals that Dampé now lays to rest here. So let's go investigate some things here. We can see now that there are Poes roaming around the graveyard. They'll just freely appear by the lanterns here and defeat them in order to draw out their spirits. You defeated Poe the Ghost. Do you want to catch it in a bottle? We are able to store Poes in bottles. Using them normally will cause them to do damage to you. However, there is another use for Poes that we will be seeing a little bit later on. But for now, want to ride this plant that we're able to get from a magic bean much earlier on, allowing us to collect this piece of heart. And that gives us our 11th heart with that. Very nice. Alright, so the next thing we want to do to advance the story here, want to open up this new grave here that has flowers planted in front of it. And if we head down into the grave, we're in this mysterious area. But look who it is. Dampé has passed away in the time that we have been imprisoned.
Young man, are you fast on your feet? I may not look like it, but I'm confident in my speed. Let's have a race. Follow me if you dare.
So now we have ourselves a timed mission. Gotta follow Dampé through the cursed corridors here in the graveyard. So the path here is quite the interesting maze. You want to make sure to follow Dampé close and be sure to remember which way he has gone. Otherwise, you will be trapped down here. Which is not good, obviously. Also to know while you're down here, Dampé will be throwing flames from the lantern he carries. You definitely do not want to ram into those, as those will cause you to be stunned for a bit. Ow! Like that. Just avoid the flames, follow Dampé, roll when you can, as this is very helpful for closing the distance. And if you are very careful, we're able to, just very barely get in here. Let's talk to Dampé now.
The time of this race was 59 seconds. Young man, you were very quick to be able to keep up with me. As a reward, I'm gonna give you my treasure. It's called the hook shot. Its spring-loaded chain will pull you to any spot where its hook sticks. Doesn't that sound cool? I'm sure it will help you. I live here now, so come back again sometime. I'll give you something cool. One more thing. Be careful on your way back.
So I'm a little salty I actually managed to get here in under a minute because of a certain something we're going to do later. But now that we have managed to catch up with Dampé, we can claim his treasure. You found the hook shot. It's a spring-loaded chain that you can cast out to hook things. You can use it to drag distant items towards you, or you can use it to pull yourself towards something. While holding C, you can aim. Shoot it by releasing C. So the hook shot is, from my various playthroughs of a lot of Zelda games, tends to be one of my favorite items. And this game is no different. For instance, we are able to use the hook shot to latch onto a variety of things and pull us around. So most things that are made of wood, as well as chests and the like, we're able to use the hook shot in order to pull them, which is definitely very helpful. See here that there's this block in our way. Hey, isn't that the same design that's on the Door of Time? So when we have these blocks here, you want to play the Song of Time. And doing so will cause those blocks to teleport. I believe the implication that the Song of Time is making the blocks teleport to an area that they previously were at another timeline. Which is kind of interesting to think about, showing that we are doing some time shenanigans with the Song of Time, which will definitely be more relevant when we're playing a certain other game. But now, thanks to our little adventure at the graveyard, we are finally able to get to this piece of art. Yeah, the graveyard connects directly with the windmill in Kakariko Village, which is kind of neat world building. I don't really think it's that important, but it's cool. But before we head off once more, there is one last thing I want to do here in the graveyard. So we were told by Dampé that if we return to him, he would give us something else. So let us head down into the hole.
Hey, buddy. Young man, are you fast on your feet? I may not look it, but I'm confident in my speed. Let's have a race. Follow me if you dare.
So this time, we're getting to race Dampé again. However, this time, you want to make sure you get to the end of this maze before a minute passes on the timer in order to get the reward here. And trust me, you're going to want to get this reward. Just be very careful. Be sure not to hit any of the flames on your way here. Or run into walls, because otherwise you're not going to get a good time. We just barely were able to pass the one time. So we just got to very carefully maneuver this way. This is going to be pretty tight. But you are able to do this on your first visit to Dampé's grave. This becomes significantly easier later on when you have a certain other piece of equipment, but it's perfectly doable to complete this challenge the first time you come here.
The time of this race was 57 seconds. You're back, young man. Was the present I gave you fun and useful?
And by beating that challenge, we get a piece of heart from Dampé. We're doing a good job stocking up on pieces of heart. Yeah, it's pretty nice that with a piece of heart you're able to obtain in the child time, you're pretty much able to get half of the hearts you are able to get in the game, which is definitely very helpful. And now that we're in the adult time, we're going to be going after all of the other hearts that we couldn't reach before. So yeah, it really shows just how everything here is connected in a ways. Also, a little known secret with the hook shot, we can actually use it to get onto the roofs of the buildings in Kakariko Village, which is certainly useful. For this particular roof, though, we can't get up on that because it's on an angle. And unfortunately, some of the areas here are either at too awkward of an angle or the buildings are too far away for us to reach. Our hook shot only has a limited range, sadly. That will eventually change in the future, but for now, that is what we're able to do with that. So yep, we got ourselves the hook shot, which is definitely very nice. Once you get the hook shot, you are pretty much able to go about and do a lot of different things around the land of Hyrule. However, for this playthrough, I'm mostly going to be taking on the challenges here in the adult timeline in the intended order of the game. So, we're going to be going through the different areas in Hyrule in a certain sequence. In this case, now that we have the hook shot, I want to head back to our old home in Kakariko Village. I mean, in Kokiri Forest, I want to say. Sorry about that. But yep, it has certainly been a while since we have been home. I can't imagine things have gone really bad here in the time that we have left, right? I mean, it's only been 7 years, right? Ganondorf wouldn't think of attacking our home, right? Nope. There are enemies here in Kokiri Forest that weren't here before. So now throughout Kokiri Forest, we have enemies like Deku Babas and Mad Scrubs just hanging around here. Really shows just how far Ganondorf's influence is, where even our home is no longer safe. There are monsters roaming around. None of the Kokiri are out and about because of all the monsters here. We gotta do something to fix this. I wonder what's going on in the forest right now. I'm worried about Saria too. Ah, good point. We haven't talked to Saria in a while. How about we play her song and talk with her? That sounds like a good idea. I mean, it's not like anything happened to Saria in the 7 years we've been asleep, right? Hayden, this is Saria. Can you hear me? Great, you're safe. I knew I would hear from you again. I'm in the forest temple. The forest spirits were calling for help, so I went to check it out. But it's full of evil monsters. Help me, Hayden. So Saria's gone to the forest temple in order to try and fix things here. We got a lot of work to do. But in the meantime, how about we go talk with some of the residents here? Since the Great Deku Tree withered, more meanies have been appearing in the forest. I'm scared. Hey, dude. Where's Saria? Do you know Saria, mister? That's weird. Where's Mido gone during such an emergency? An evil wind is blowing from the direction of the forest temple. Saria left saying, I have to do something about it. The forest temple's located in the sacred forest meadow in the far side of the Lost Woods. Kind of interesting to note that 7 years have passed, but the Kokiri still look the same as they did before. So why have we grown up, but the Kokiri haven't? Makes you wonder. Why is that fairy following you around? You're not one of us. I see. You didn't have any problems entering the forest, mister. Did the meanies out there bother you much? Before the Great Deku Tree died, you wouldn't see things like that around here. Since it's dangerous outside, I always stay inside my house, but I'm bored to death in here. So yeah, it seems that the Great Deku Tree was doing more than looking after the Kokiri. His presence was actively keeping evil creatures at bay. And with the Great Deku Tree dead because of Ganondorf, the forest is now overrun with monsters. We gotta do something to fix this. We really do. Have you been traveling around much, mister? Have you ever met a boy named Hayden? Mido said the Great Deku Tree withered because that boy did something wrong to it. Only Saria defended Hayden until she left. Maybe we misunderstood. Ooh, blue rupee. Dibs. Let's see what is in here. Haven't I seen you somewhere before, mister? Saria went to the temple and hasn't come back. Something else about the Kokiri here. None of them recognize us. It really is quite sad that so much has changed here. And the forest no longer feels like home. It is very disheartening to see what has become of this place because of Ganondorf. Meanwhile, what I want to do right now is want to change it to night because there's a gold Skulltula up here during the adult timeline. So we're able to collect that gold Skulltula, and I believe by doing that, yep, that is the last gold Skulltula in Kokiri Forest. So we are all done with that for now. But there's some more stuff we're able to do, so we'll just be heading off here. Before we do, however, there was that bean plant we put here so much earlier in our adventure. Ow! Frickin' Octorok sniping me from up here. So yep, we can ride around the upper section of Kokiri Forest on this plant. But the main reason I wanted to ride this is because if we go over here, allows us to get up to this ledge we couldn't reach before, allowing us to collect all these rupees here. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing we need to do with that plant. There's nothing else we really need to do with it at this point. So, let us go forward. So the Sacred Forest Meadow that we need to get to in order to reach the Forest Temple is out past the Lost Woods. So, let us head that way. Very quickly, I want to show off. If we go over here in the Lost Woods, there is this man here that we met all the way back in Kakariko Village 7 years ago. No response. He's sleeping. Also, if we go over here, there's this bean plant from the bean that we planted here all that time ago. However, there really isn't much use to this one, as all it mainly does is give you a shortcut to head back out to Hyrule Field instead of having to cut through Kokiri Forest. It's pretty much the only reason for it, and it's really not all that useful. But let us move forward. Oh yeah, there was this rock here we could blast open with a bomb, and for whatever reason, I never did it before. So let us blow it up. Doing that will expose a hole here. And if we head inside, there's a lone chest here, which should only contain a couple rupees. Yep, just 5 rupees. Considering how expensive bombs tend to be, I don't really feel like that's a very good deal. We could head to Goron City at this point to do a couple things, but I'm gonna save that for a bit later. And if we head over here, look who it is. What are you? Though you wear Kokirish clothing, you can't fool me. I promised Saria I would never let anybody go through here. Yeah, well, you know what? I got a song that only Saria knows. So how do you like them apples, Mido? That melody? Saria plays that song all the time. Do you know Saria? That song. Saria taught that song only to her friends. Okay, I trust you. When I see you, I don't know why, but I remember him. I can't believe they name a giant robot bird after this guy in the future. But yep, we're able to get past Mido with that. And if we head over here, we're able to get up this ledge here using that beam, allowing us to grab this gold Skulltula up here. Very nice. Now, I believe that is the last gold Skulltula we're able to get in the Lost Woods proper. Yeah, pretty much the only reason you needed that bean plant there was to get that one gold Skulltula. Besides that, there is pretty much nothing left for us to do here. I mean, there is a rock over here we could blast and see if there's anything here. Just a blue rupee. Nothing special. And there's another rock over here. Let's put that down. And that opens up another hole. See what we got. Ah, there's a couple of business scrubs here. Why don't we see what they have to sell? I surrender! To make your quest easier, I can enable you to pick up more Deku Nuts, but it'll cost you 40 rupees. You know what? Let's take that deal. We could have obtained this Deku Nut upgrade much earlier on in our adventure. I just never thought to come here. Knock it off! Leave me alone, and I'll sell you arrows. We do not have the ability to use arrows at this point, so that is not a good deal for us to make. But yep, that is where you're able to get one of the Deku Nut upgrades. I believe if you want to get the other Deku Nut upgrade, you're gonna want to go to the... You want to go to the forest stage, which is the area that we took our rabbit mask before, and it got us a good thing. Actually, I don't believe we went there with the rabbit mask. But do note that that is an area where you can get the other nut upgrade. So we have returned to the Sacred Forest Meadow. From here on, we'll be going through some narrow passages. If you take it slow, maybe you can sneak up on some enemies. Use Z targeting to always look in the proper direction. Set your view so you can see down the next corridor before you turn a corner. Once your view is set, hold down Z to sidestep around the corner. That way, you won't be surprised by an enemy waiting in ambush. Some pretty good advice from Navi here, because we actually got some new enemies here. So these big guys patrolling the halls here are moblins, a classic Zelda enemy from the very first game. And only now are we seeing these guys. They're pretty much the main forces of Ganondorf's army. And as you can see here, they are quite intimidating looking. However, just one shot from the hook shot is able to take them out. But you want to be careful here. Use the sidestep method to be able to easily tell when these guys are going to appear around a corner. And you're able to just evade their attacks. If you get in their line of sight, they will ram at you with their spears, which is obviously going to hurt. A little irritating to deal with because of that, but ultimately, they're not too bad. I believe there's another one just coming up here. I will say it is a little weird to have moblins here at this point in the game because this is the only time in the game that we're ever going to encounter moblins. And these guys used to be like the main soldiers of Ganondorf's forces back in the original game, as well as a lot of the other games in the series. I want to avoid you entirely, sir. I was thinking about which way I wanted to go and thought that this way wouldn't be an optimum area, but we are actually going to want to go here. So, yep, we can tell that there is no moblin at this path. But yeah, it's a little weird that moblins do not appear in any other area of this game, despite primarily being one of Ganon's main forces in a lot of different Zelda games. We're able to grab that gold Skulltula up there. And with that gold Skulltula, I do believe... Yep, that is the last one we can find in the Lost Woods area. So we're all done with that. Whoa! Whew! I did not think that guy would come over here. I'm just gonna go ahead and take you out. Ha! Nice try. Let's look at our current equipment here. Yeah, we have 2 fairies, so we're pretty good here. Alright, now this corridor here. There is a really big moblin here. It's got a club which will obviously smash you if you try to get close. But if you simply hit him with the sword, you're able to damage this guy. Do not get hit by his shockwaves, otherwise he will knock you back. And we can collect the rupees he drops. Very nice. And now, we have finally reached the end. She's not here anymore. Oh, hey there! The flow of time is always cruel. Its speed seems different for each person, but no one can change it. A thing that doesn't change with time is a memory of younger days. In order to come back here again, play the Minuet of Forest. You have learned the Minuet of Forest. Hayden, I'll see you again. Ow, my eyes! Well, that was rude. So, yeah. Excuse me. So that song that Sheik just taught us, the Minuet of Forest, that is a teleportation song. So anytime we want to return to the Sacred Forest Meadow, We simply need to play the Minuet of Forest, and that will enable us to warp here to this platform anytime we want. It's quite useful. There are going to be a lot of transportation songs we're going to be learning throughout the adult stage of the game, so it's very good to keep that in mind for later. I will say I do have a bit of my gripes with the way they do fast travel in this game, but I'll save that for a bit later when it becomes more relevant. But now it's time to head into the Forest Temple. If you remember the dungeons that we went through in the child time, then prepare yourself for something really amazing, because the dungeons in the adult time blow the child dungeons out of the water with how good they are. Starting off here, we got a couple of Wolfos right before the front door. So we're gonna try to take these guys on with the usual strats. So we wait for these guys to approach and attack them when their guard is down. However, as I said before, a back attack with a sword is all you need to take those guys out. They really aren't too bad. Alright, so here in the Forest Temple, we got a lot of things to do. There's a lot of stuff for us here, and hopefully we should be able to get done every last thing we can do here in the Forest Temple. So right away we can see up here on the vines up here that there is a gold Skulltula. It's gonna go ahead and take this guy out. Something I really love about the hook shot compared to the weapons we had as a kid is that actually kills a lot of enemies in one hit. Mostly the small ones, but it is a darn effective weapon when you use it in the right circumstances. So I can just easily recommend using this thing for a variety of different threats. It's a good weapon, and it has good utility as it's able to grab things, like these gold Skulltula tokens that I completely flubbed here. But yeah, it's still very helpful. Alright, want to get back up here on this tree, and want to carefully make our way over to this chest here, jump to the other branch, and let's open you up. You found a small key. This key will open a locked door. You can use it only in this dungeon. So keys are a mechanic only introduced in the adult timeline at this point. And they are pretty darn useful in making progress through dungeons. Occasionally you'll come across locked doors, preventing you from accessing other areas of the dungeon until you manage to find a small key. So it's definitely important to keep in mind that there are a lot of keys in the dungeons going forward. In this chamber here, we have some Poes. Oh, well that's rude. So these Poes have stolen the flames from the torches there. And in doing so, they shut down the elevator, allowing us to access more of the dungeon. Quite a nuisance. We'll actually go here and examine the torches with Navi. The fires on the torches are gone. Seems like the ghost took them away. So yeah, we're gonna have to hunt down those Poes in order to get the flames back. That is one of the main gimmicks here of the Forest Temple. This area has a lot of enemies to deal with, mostly undead enemies, as we could tell from the Poes we encountered there. And we'll want to remember them for later, as hunting them is going to be very important going forward. Meanwhile, just want to remember to grab this gold Skulltula here. And let us go forward. So for this door, we got a new enemy here. Blue Bubble. Guard against his blue flame with your shield. So these floating skull guys can be quite a nuisance. They will just fly at you from wherever, and as long as they have the flame surrounding them, they're invulnerable. You can simply put out the flames using your shield or the hook shot. Meanwhile, in here, we got some new enemies. Stalfos. Lure it close to you and watch its movement carefully. Attack it when it drops its guard. So these guys are probably one of the more complicated enemies we've had to deal with in this portion of the game. These guys are very skilled users of the sword and shield, much like we are. So want to employ all of our combat skills we have used throughout the game to best these guys. Just wait until their guard is dropped, and then strike them. Typically, one of the strategies I find useful against these guys is lock onto them and then sidestep near them in order to goad them into doing a jump attack, which will leave them completely open, allowing you to damage them. They go down in a couple hits to the Master Sword. They really aren't too bad to deal with, honestly. Just keep your guard up for their attacks and strike when they lower their guard. There's a fairy here we can recover health from should we need it. Let's open up this chest here, as that gives us another small key. Very nice. Yep, let's grab this fairy right quick to heal us up. And let us move forward. Alright, the bubble's back. So I can demonstrate there, you're able to stun them with the hook shot. As I said before, this thing is really good. If the hook shot doesn't kill an enemy, then chances are it's still able to stun them. So it's important to keep that in mind. It's got another one of these time blocks. So we'll play the Song of Time to move you. So I want to be careful when I'm going for the Forest Temple, because this area is very much a maze, and you want to go through this area in a specific order when it comes to the rooms you're able to visit here. So over here we find ourselves in a little castle courtyard, which is quite nice looking, all things considered. Definitely like a lot of the architecture we have here. This is a very nice looking dungeon when it comes to its architecture. It just looks really nice. There's a gold sculpture up there that we're going to have to go for. Though sadly we do not have the means of reaching it just yet. If we go over here by this pool of water, we can climb up the vines here to get up here. But there really isn't anything we're able to do at this point. Because yeah, we can't hook onto those vines. Usually you are able to hook onto certain wooden surfaces, but things like those vines you can't do. And over here we got some Skullwaltulas to deal with. You can easily take these guys out with the hook shot as well. Just as long as they are close to you. If they're too high up like that one, then you're likely not going to be able to hit it. Alright, so want to hook onto the wall up here, and want to be very careful about this. Want to crawl past this guy and make our way through this door. It's got another bubble to deal with here, so we'll take this sucker down. And in here is an item that's going to be very helpful to us going forward. You found the dungeon map. This is going to be very helpful. So we can see here on the map, there are a lot of areas here in the Forest Temple. The kid gloves are officially off. And this game is going to be significantly more challenging than the trials we have faced as a child. So you see this guy here that we can just take you out with that. And we're at another section of the courtyard that we weren't able to access before. So want to latch onto that in order to activate this switch, which will drain the water from that area. Very nice. Alright, so at this point, yeah, I feel like what we're gonna do now is Well, there's pretty much nothing else we can really do besides go forward. And there's something over there that we could try to do, but it's not really going to be too helpful. Alright, enough of that, mister. Something else I wanted to note while we're just dealing with some of the enemies here, and since we're using our shield a great deal in this area, something that I didn't really note when we were in the child stage of the game is that Child Link handles the Hylian shield different than the way adult Link uses it. When we were a child, we'd only be able to duck under the Hylian shield since it was too heavy for us to use normally. So in order to use it, we just duck under it like a turtle going into its shell. However, now that we are an adult, we're able to wield it to its full potential, allowing us to access areas that we couldn't before. And I'm trying to think about this area because this ledge here is making me think certain things. Vaguely remembering this area as being a little important for something. Mostly based on the behavior that Navi tends to do here. So around here, you can usually see Navi just shooting up here to that ledge, kind of indicating this would be an area to... Well, it's really not significant to us right now, so let's just move forward. So now what we want to do is head down this well that we were able to access now that we have drained the water. So down here we're able to refill our hearts with those ones down there. But if we head on over to the end here, we're able to get to this chest, giving us another small key. So now that we have 3 small keys, we now have everything we need to advance even further into the dungeon. So I want to make sure I grab those keys before we go forward, as they are going to be very important to us for the journey ahead. So I want to save you for a bit later as we are pressing on. Ow! Alright, but now that we got everything we need here, let's move forward. So back in the main hub, want to head this way. So to the left, from where you first enter this room, there is a locked door here. But we're able to go through now that we have our keys. And then over here is, honestly, one of the more complicated areas here. It's going to be quite a few things we're going to be doing in this room. It's going to be important to us for the future. So around here, if we go around, there are arrows painted on the floor. Yes, they are. Wonder if they're telegraphing something. So now what we want to do is move this block over here. And then we can push this one along the path marked by the arrows in order to do certain things that... Alright, we pushed you to the end there. And want to head over here. And we take this side path over here, enabling us to access this block from another side. Then we'll push you down here, enabling us to head up here. Alright, we got another area where we need to move a block. So let us pull you over here. And at this point, there's pretty much nothing we can do about that block. So, want to head back down here. And over here where the first block was, there is a ladder that's now available. So I want to climb up here to access the next floor. Then over here, we can see that we are now in front of this block. We can now push here. Good. So now that that is fully in position, we can head back down here and then climb back up the green block. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of puzzles like this that have you going through multiple layers of these areas in order to be able to access things you couldn't before. They're definitely upping the ante with the puzzles here. Like, this is a pretty significant step up from what we saw before. Now they're up here, we should finally be at the top of this room. So there's that ladder there. And over there is a quick way back to the bottom. Alright, we're almost at the top here. So let's just take this ladder up. And we got some more bubbles to deal with. Right, get over here, you. Jump attack can easily take these guys out in one hit, so I could recommend that over the usual method of handling them. Ow. Do not, sir. And we have a locked door here, which is why I recommended grabbing a key. This corridor is all twisted. Like one of my favorite musicals. It's able to go through this twisted hall over here to this chamber. Watch for the shadows of monsters that hang from the ceiling. Definitely a good warning there from our girl. This room has a very important hazard you want to watch out. We just walk around here, you may notice there is a shadow growing larger by her feet. And that is the indicator of a wall master. These big zombified hands are some of the most annoying enemies in all of Zelda. If they manage to grab you, they will take you to the very beginning of the dungeon. So you do not want to miss out on that progress. There's a treasure chest here. That is a pretty fancy looking chest compared to the ones we saw before. Sadly, there is not much we're going to be able to do with that for the time being. We got some paintings here showing the ghosts that we encountered previously. Might want to save that for a bit later. But want to head into this room. And we got ourselves a new threat here. So once more, we got some Stalfos to take on. Just want to take this guy out, much like the ones we handled before. Except same thing applies here as with the other Stalfos. Just wait for your opening to strike. Alright, now that we took that guy down, that platform will lower and will enable some more Stalfos to spawn in. Link, we lock on, please. Alright, come here, buddy. Alright, this duel's pretty interesting with this particular fight, as we're gonna see here in a little bit with these guys. Ooh, that was a very good jump attack. Spin there. Doing spin attacks when you got a group of enemies, very good. Wow, that really affected the frame rate there. Now, this is going to be an interesting battle. As you saw, the way the Stalfos fell apart there was different compared to the other ones. In certain battles, when you have a pair of Stalfos, one of them will fall apart, but it won't completely disappear. You want to take out the other Stalfos before the other one is able to regenerate, otherwise you're just going to be in a loop of constantly fighting these guys, which obviously you don't want to do. But we managed to take those guys out regardless, enabling us to grab what is in here. Hello there, Master Starman. Welcome to the stream. Making some good progress here in the Forest Temple, as we now have this, the Fairy Bow. Oh boy, this is a great item. Press C to take it out and hold it. As you hold down C, you can aim. Release C to let fly with an arrow. So this is pretty much the slingshot we had as a kid on crack. This thing is really good. One of our best weapons we can obtain in this game. So while we're here, just want to quickly check the areas here to make sure we're on the right path. As this area can be a bit... Okay, there's a blue ghost in that painting, so we are not in the right path. So I actually want to double back to the room where we were at before, as there's some stuff we can do over in that path that we couldn't do before. So now that we are back here, in the area with the red ghost painting, want to take aim with our bow and fire an arrow at the paintings, which will destroy the paintings. So yeah, pretty much just like the slingshot, you're able to aim and fire with the bow. And by destroying all the paintings here, that causes the ghost to finally appear. Joelle, one of the Poe sisters. Aim for her when she appears. You want to make sure you do not lock on to the Poe, otherwise she will disappear. Simply wait for her to reappear, and then strike her with either the sword or the arrows. Either is good for taking her on. Let's actually go for arrows this time. Just wait for you to reappear, rinse, and repeat. So this is going to be a required portion of our time in the Forest Temple, as these ghosts here have stolen the flames that we need in order to be able to access a certain thing near the start of the Forest Temple that we saw before. Okay, can I get you to settle down there, Joelle? So by defeating you, that returns a flame back to that torch. And we can also grab these arrows she drops in order to refill. And we can grab a small key by beating her as well. Alright, that's pretty good. Now, what I want to do is head back to the room with the block puzzle we were at before. This will enable us to do something very good. Just want to head back through the twisted corridor. I think it's really amazing that they were able to do the twisted corridor on a frickin' Nintendo 64. Like, this is a very good... Just such a cool effect they managed to do there. Really shows how far ahead this game was technologically. So good. Just deal with these bubbles here so they don't get in our way later. Come here, buddy. Guys, will you just get over here? Thank you. Sir, could you please get over here and die? This guy's really ahead of the game, isn't he? Alright, while we're here, we can now take our bow and fire it at these ice switches that we had previously encountered when we were a child. And doing that causes the corridor to realign itself so that it is now straight. Now I want to carefully jump down here so that I avoid falling into that hole there. And I want to grab this chest that we couldn't access before, as it was on the wall. But in here, you got the boss key. Now you can get inside the chamber where the boss lurks. So another thing about the dungeons in the adult timeline is that they also have boss keys. In order to access the boss of the dungeon, you're going to need to collect those keys in order to go forward. Speaking of which, I want to head down this hole here, as it's going to be pretty significant. But take care of these guys here. Come here, Mr. Bubble. Alright, that's not too bad. That opens up this door here. Yeah, it is quite interesting how they have it so the dungeons between the kid and the adult phase of the game have significantly different mechanics to them. Definitely makes you feel like things are getting more advanced as you progress onward in your journey. But now that we're over here, we can finally grab this gold Skulltula. So I believe that is the second to last gold Skulltula we're going to need in this dungeon. Don't quote me on that, because we still have a significant amount of dungeon to go through. Let's take this guy out here. And I want to go through this door now. And this room has a pretty interesting new face here. Floor Master. When it splits up, destroy all the pieces before they reunite. This guy is a kind of more benign version of the Wall Master we encountered before. It will not take you to the beginning of the dungeon should it grab you, but it is still a bit of a tricky guy to deal with. So it'll turn invisible and ram into you, which can be a little annoying, but you're able to take it out with just one hit if you do a jump attack. And doing so will cause it to split apart into 3 small Floor Masters. If you do not take out the small Floor Masters, after a while they will regenerate themselves into a new Floor Master. So, yeah, you'll want to take them out very quickly. What I like to do, as I demonstrated there, was do a spin attack in order to take out all 3 of them before they have a chance to scamper away. I just want to look at my options here before we go a bit forward, as there is something forward that I want to do here. So I believe if we head over this way, so right over here, there is a switch here that we can shoot, causing this chest to drop down here. This one is pretty optional. All it gives is a bundle of arrows, which is still helpful if you run out of arrows here, as a lot of threats here can be destroyed easily with the arrows, and they are significant for puzzles in this area. So it's nice to have a quick way to replenish your supplies. But anyway, it's time to move on. So I can demonstrate here. The arrows are also good for stunning the bubbles here, but they're not really the best weapon to do against these guys. So before we go forward, we need to re-twist the corridor here. Again, such a really cool effect they were able to do. And want to hop back here to the room where we fought Joel. So I want to move past here and get beyond the room where we fought the Stalfos in order to move forward. I don't believe we need anything from the pots here, so let's just keep moving. And now, much like we did with Joel, this room also offers us a challenge. So we see over here that there are some paintings, much like the ones where we found Joel. Simply shoot the paintings that the ghost is in, until we manage to fully expose the Spectre. This one's feeling a lot more blue than the one we had met before. Say hello to Beth, one of the Poe sisters. Aim for her when she appears. Alright, come here, Beth. Again, this is a pretty simple fight, all things considered. Just wait for the ghost to appear. If they try to attack you, use your shield in order to block it. And pick at them from a distance with arrows, as they are probably the most reliable means of dealing with them. Pretty simple, all things considered. I will say, since we are battling against the Poe sisters here, there is a very similar moment in a future title called Twilight Princess that calls back to this moment with the Poe sisters and defeating them in order to access a certain area. So it's pretty cool they do a callback to this particular moment with the Poe sisters in this game. I like it. Yeah, as you say there, Master Starman, the Poe sisters we are encountering here in this game are all named after characters from the novel Little Women. Joel and Beth are both named after characters from that. And as we'll see from the other Poe sisters, that naming scheme also holds true. Alright, let's open up this door with a key we got before. And we're at another corridor like the one we saw before. Navi warning us to beware of the monsters that drop from the ceiling. Just like before. So let's quickly get up here. And nope! I was afraid of that. Shit. Right back at the beginning. Gods, that is such a pace breaker. Ugh. Really thought I wouldn't have to worry about the frickin' thing if I just try to go forward. Whatever. As we can see here, defeating the Poe sisters causes the torches to return here. Which is fairly good. What's not good is I have to retrace all my steps. At the very least, I don't have to worry about too many things going forward, but still pretty irritating that I have to do this. Just ignore all these enemies going forward. Alright, next time we get back in that room, I am going to actually take out the Wall Master before it gets a chance to get the jump on me. So while we're retracing our steps, how about I talk about some things that have been going on lately? So today has been pretty nice for me. I've been taking a day off from work, which I'm very thankful for. And I'm also going to have another day off coming up fairly soon. As this Monday, I have an eye appointment over at another town. So I'm going to be away from work that day, and depending on when I return home, I might get in another stream session, which would be very nice to get some more progress in Ocarina of Time. Well, actually, what am I doing? I do not need this room to be like this. Sorry, I'm just wasting my arrows. But yeah, I have an eye appointment. Probably not going to be too bad, considering some of the other things I have had. And for the most part, I find my eye appointments to be fairly nice, all things considered. Like, they're significantly a lot less nerve-wracking than having to go to the dentist, I'll tell you what, because they're not sticking, like, needles in my frickin' eye sockets or anything like that. But yep, looking forward to that. Should be fairly nice. But some other things that have been going on is that earlier today, I actually had another awesome session with some of my buddies in another Discord server. Okay, yeah, we just completely took the wrong path here. That's why we got caught. Let's get this Wall Master to appear, sorry. And grab those rupees. So we're already managed to fill up our giant's wallet. Wow. And we got ourselves some new enemies here. Green Bubble. Use your sword when its green fire vanishes. So unlike the blue bubbles we encountered before, these guys are a little different. Their flame will eventually fade away, and that will enable you to strike them down. Or you could stun them with the hook shot in order to take them down. It's a pretty simple puzzle, all things considered. Now, this room, we got a neat little puzzle here that actually incorporates the bow in a fairly unique way. So we have a switch here that is encased in ice, and there is a torch here in the middle of this platform. So we want to shoot our arrow through the fire, causing it to ignite and strike the switch. thus opening the path forward to us. Yeah, there's a lot of cool puzzles that they do with the bow. It's actually quite a significant amount. So I definitely like the amount of attention they give to it here. Oh man, I completely effed that, didn't I? Alright, let us head back up here, and we shall return back to the room now that the corridor is all twisty. Oh yeah, you could also use Din's Fire for that. I remembered I tried to find a good moment where I could show off Din's Fire's capabilities when it comes to destroying enemies, but I really haven't found a good time I wanted to do that. So probably save that for much later on. Alright, could you stand still, sir? Thank you. And he just turned back to normal anyway. Alright. So now that we have fixed up this room, we want to head down here into this chamber. So I believe there's this door here, which I don't believe is really useful for anything. Okay, that actually leads up here to this area in the courtyard. But there's nothing I want to do here, so we'll just be returning back in here. So this room with the checkerboard floor. So we have this ceiling here, which will eventually fall over time. So this room has a few hazards we need to take care of. There are some big skulltulas here that would be pretty annoying should they actually attack us. So I'm going to take out a few of these guys, just wait for the... Hayden, watch out! The ceiling is falling down! Yes, Navi? Song. Just wait for the ceiling to start falling. And want to remember these safe spots here. If you get crushed by that ceiling, you'll be returned to the last door you passed through. So, definitely keep that in mind. Okay, so from here, should be able to just cut over to this chest and open it up. Getting us some more arrows. Definitely appreciated. And then we can simply head on through to this door. Okay, this room. This room is going to be interesting here. So I want to shoot that painting there, causing these blocks to drop down. So we have here a little bit of a puzzle where we have about a minute's time in order to align these blocks up so that they show the image on them. It's really nothing too bad. All you have to do is just move the blocks into the correct position and then push them into place. It's a pretty standard puzzle, all things considered. Also like that they have the one block that is out of place. As you can tell that it has the colors of a different one of the Poe sisters here. Again, it's a nice little detail. But once you put all the blocks together, that causes this sister to appear. So this is Amy, one of the Poe sisters. Aim for her when she appears. Just like the last Poe sisters we saw before, simply have to attack her. Wait for her to appear, and then attack again. Come on, you. Right, one more hit should do it. There we go. That takes care of Amy. And that opens up the path forward. Is there anything in here we could use? I saw some arrows drop down here. But yeah, it's important to note that now that we have the bow, we are now at a point of the game where arrows will start to drop from grass or pots when we break them. which is definitely very nice, giving us opportunity to restock on those. But now, we have come full circle and made our way back to the center here. Only one ghost remains. It's actually kind of sad this ghost is crying since we killed all of her sisters. But we still need to take you out in order to complete this dungeon. So let us do this. The last of the Poe sisters, May. If she splits into multiple images, you need to figure out which one's the real one. Is it this one? So we have here a bit of a guessing game with May. In order to defeat her, we need to aim for the right ghost out of the 4 that will appear. Her tail is actually really easy to get. All you have to do is shoot at the ghost that will twirl around. Alright, so it's that one on the left. And I believe one more hit should do it. Alright, you on the right. And with that, we have bested all 4 of the Poe sisters, enabling us to ride the elevator. I just very quickly want to check the map here. Yep, we managed to clear up everything we could do in the top areas of the Forest Temple. So, let us take the elevator down into the basement. So now we got one last tricky thing to do here. In order to access the boss, we're going to want to do a couple things here. We can push this segment of the wall in order to move around the different sections of this place, enabling us to access chambers here that we couldn't access before. So yeah, the main gimmick of this area is simply pushing the walls in order to expose certain areas that you can go into. There should be one over here now. And then we only got 2 more to deal with. So, just to talk about some other stuff I've been doing, I had a very good session in another Discord server where we are running a friendlock game, similar to the one that Salty DK Dan has been running for the past couple of years. And oh boy, it was a very significant session. We were dealing with a lot of Team Rocket related stuff, and it led to some very interesting character moments, I'll just say. Especially had some really good moments with the character I was playing, where they got significantly angry with a certain NPC we were facing. It was really fun. And with that, we have taken care of the last Gold Skulltula inside of the Forest Temple. No more we have to deal with here. So now we can activate this switch, which will open up the path to the boss. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Before going forward, highly recommend you have some healing items at your disposal. Be sure to have a good stock of arrows in your bow, and let us go forward. It's a very macabre art gallery we have here. It's all the same painting, though, which is kind of redundant. Whatever, let us be on our way. Oh, well, that's rude. You! Evil spirit from beyond, Phantom Ganon. So our foe this time is a ghost taking on the likeness of Ganondorf himself. It's got a pretty interesting fight here. We have these paintings that Phantom Ganon will be charging at us from. However, there is also a second Phantom Ganon that can appear in the paintings. You want to pay close attention to the colors on Phantom Ganon as he's charging at you in order to determine which one is the real one from the double. So I believe the double has darker colors compared to the other one. So that one is fake, that one is real. Once you shoot at him 3 times, his horse will retreat into the painting, allowing you to face the Spectre himself. Phantom Ganon. It's an evil ghost of the forest temple. He comes out of one of the pictures. Answer his magic attack with an attack of your own. With pleasure, Navi. So he will shoot out attacks from his scepter there. 1, 2, ow. If I can get a good view of him here. You want to strike the magic attacks with your sword in order to send them back at the beast. Okay, can I actually pull this off here? Come on, this isn't that hard. Alright, come on. Ow! Yeah, the timing of this guy could be a little weird, but ultimately it's not too bad. Ow! Come on, bud. We can do this. Given how his attacks have been, I wonder if his attack patterns are a little bit different from how they were in the original release of this game compared to the re-releases, because he is super aggressive here, where I don't remember him being this bad in the Switch version. Now, come on! This is really messing me up here. It's not supposed to be this tough! Okay, come on. Come on, Phantom Ganon. We can do this here. Just ricochet the magic back at him until he falls to the ground stunned. Then just whack him away with your attacks. Oh boy. That took significantly longer than it was supposed to. God damn. Come on, bud. Ow. Okay, I'm gonna need a heal soon. I have some fairies, but I really don't want to have to use them. Come on. Alright, he's flying back there. Okay, I'm gonna have to use a potion. Refreshing. So I definitely like the red potions. They'll restore all of your hearts. Wait, wow. How was that actually able to work? Was not expecting that. Come on. So now that I actually have an empty bottle, I want to try and show this off. His attacks can be deflected with the bottle. I actually think it's easier to deflect them with the bottle than it is with the sword. But yeah, that is a very fun little Easter egg involving this boss fight. It's pretty fun. Man, I actually managed to beat him with the bottle. That's great.
Hey, kid, you did quite well. It looks like you may be gaining some slight skill. But you had defeated only my Phantom. When you fight the real me, it won't be so easy. What a worthless creation that ghost was. I will banish it to the gap between dimensions.
So we have managed to beat Phantom Ganon, only for the legitimate Ganon to taunt us about how we're still far from being able to stop him. It's a pretty significant point for our journey, wouldn't you say? Let us head into the light. Thank you. Because of you, I could awaken as a sage. I am Saria, the sage of the Forest Temple. I always believed that you would come, because I know you. No, you don't have to explain it to me, because it is destiny that you and I can't live in the same world. I will stay here as the Forest Sage and help you. Now, please, take this medallion. You receive the Forest Medallion. Saria awakens as a sage and adds her power to yours. Saria will always be your friend. Indeed. What's this? Did someone plant a potato here or something? Ah! Definitely not a potato. Hi there, I'm the Deku Tree Sprout. Because you and Saria broke the curse on the Forest Temple, I can grow and flourish. Thanks a lot. Hey, have you seen your old friends? None of them recognize you of your grown-up body, did they? That's because the Kokiri never grow up. Even after 7 years, they're still kids. You must be wondering why only you have grown up. Well, as you might have already guessed, you're not a Kokiri. You're actually a Hylian. I am happy to finally reveal the secret to you. Shocking, isn't it? Some time ago, before the King of Hyrule unified this country, there was a fierce war in our world. One day, to escape from the fires of the war, a Hylian mother and her baby boy entered this forbidden forest. The mother was gravely injured. Her only choice was to entrust the child to the Deku Tree, the guardian spirit of the forest. The Deku Tree could sense that this was a child of destiny, whose fate would affect the entire world, so he took him into the forest. After the mother passed away, the baby was raised as a Kokiri, and now finally, the day of destiny has come. You are a Hylian, and were always bound to leave this forest. And now, you have learned your own destiny. So you know what you must do. That's right, you must save the land of Hyrule. Now, Hayden, break the curses on all the temples, and return peace to Hyrule. I like the implication here that every new Deku Tree inherits the memories and knowledge of the previous Great Deku Tree. Otherwise, how would this little guy know all of that? But yep, we have a new Deku Tree growing here in the forest. Thanks to our efforts, as well as Saria's, peace can finally return to the forest. And if we go out here, we can see that all of our buddies are finally out and about. No more shall enemies trouble us here in the forest. I feel like I've known you for a long time, mister. But even after all our efforts, the Kokiri still don't recognize us. It's quite sad, really. I wonder if Saria will come back. We'll see about that. Yep, let's walk around and talk with the friends that we once knew. I still think you really look like somebody I've seen before, mister. What about you, bud? Teach me some fancy fencing! All I ever done is tap feet all my life. We'll see about that, buddy. I have full rupees, so there's really no reason to open up these chests here. Now that the Deku Tree's sprout is growing in the Great Deku Tree's meadow, the forest has returned to normal. Yes, it has. We managed to really improve this area from how it was before. Hayden, I wonder if he will come back. I thought for a moment he actually recognized me, but he didn't. It's sad, really. Link really can't return to the place he grew up. You're such a big, strong guy. I really want to be like you someday, even though I'll always be small. Somehow, a fair wind has begun to blow recently. I'm sure Hayden will return someday. Since a fair wind started to blow, I'm sure Hayden will come back. I don't have it in me to tell them. Mostly because Link is a silent protagonist. But yeah, thanks to our efforts, Kokiri Forest is now safe from Ganondorf's power. But there's one other thing that we're able to do here. So, back when we raced Malin, she said she would deliver our reward to our house. If we go to our house now, there is a cow here. You can probably guess what this is for. If we bring out an ocarina and play Epona's song... Moo! What a nice song! It reminds me of the pasture. That song makes me feel so good I can produce a lot of milk. Have some of my refreshing and nutritious milk. So we're able to fill up our bottle with Lon Lon milk. Nice. So yeah, by doing the race with Malin, we now have an infinite supply of milk readily available here in Kokiri Forest. It's quite nice. This bed used to feel so much bigger, didn't it? We've outgrown a lot here. But yeah, that is probably where we're gonna call it here. We made some significant progress in our journey to stop Ganondorf, and even helped to awaken Saria as the Sage of the Forest Temple. So next time in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we're gonna be heading off once more to our next destination, in order to save this land from evil. Until next time, have a good day, and take care.